Χαίρετε κυρίες και κύριοι. Βρισκόμαστε στην τελική ευθεία για τη διεξαγωγή των προεδρικών εκλογών στις ΗΠΑ. Σε ολόκληρη τη χώρα υπάρχει κλίμα ακραίας πόλωσης. Ρεπουμπλικάνοι και Δημοκρατικοί διασταυρώνουν τα ξύφη τους σε μια ιστορική μάχη, όπως τη χαρακτηρίζουν οι αναλυτές. Θα είναι η Κάμαλα Χάρις η πρώτη γυναίκα πρόεδρος των ΗΠΑ ή θα επιστρέψει ο Ντόναλντ Τραμπ στο Λευκό Οίκο? Για όλες τις τελευταίες εξελίξεις θα συζητήσουμε με τον επικεφαλής του γραφείου του Δημοκρατικού Κόμματος στην Ελλάδα, κύριο Μπρέιντι Κίσλινγκ. Mr. Kissling, welcome to euronews.
Thank you very much, George.
Mr. Kissling, a few days ago a debate between Republicans and Democrats took place here in Athens. Can you tell us some things about it?
For me, it was my first experience of debating. We had the problem that Democrats abroad has no official rival. Republicans abroad shut down 10 years ago. Lack of volunteers, lack of interest. And the person who represented the Republicans was a Greek former member of Parliament with very strong views which are not exactly those, I hope, of the Republican Party. But it made the debate somewhat theoretical.
Can you tell us some things about the action of your office here in Greece?
Our job as Democrats Abroad Greece is to help American citizens living in Greece request their ballot, fill it out, and mail it back successfully. It's a huge job. There are tens of thousands of American citizens here, many of them without much connection to the U.S. Who do not normally vote. We have other digital nomads, we have students, we have a huge community. We try to find them. They no longer gather in the places they used to gather. There's no longer the American Club in Kifisia, for example. Instead, we are advertising virtually. We're placing articles in the press. We're putting a table out in a prominent location and saying, have you asked for your ballot yet? And we've had a pretty successful season this year. We're up 15% so far in the number of people who have used our site to request their ballot, which means we hope that, thousands of ballots will be cast from Greece ultimately.
Mr. Kissling, do you believe that Kamala Harris is the right choice for the Democratic Party, or she was just the panic button?
Kamala Harris is eminently qualified for the job. Obviously, a political process where President Biden had recognized earlier that he was not going to be in shape 4 years from now to be president, that we could have had a somewhat better process, but the result is a very good one. And I'm amazed at the enthusiasm with which ordinary Democrats, including in Greece, responded to her candidacy. We saw it in donations, we saw it in voter registrations, we saw it in volunteers.
Mr. Kissling, is Kamala Harris ready to deal with leaders like Vladimir Putin or Xi Jinping?
No president is automatically ready to deal at that level. That is why the United States has developed an enormous mechanism, a national security mechanism. I would say it's even too enormous, but she has very good advice from the outset. The United States has an enormous reservoir of talent, diplomatic and otherwise, and she will use that talent. Whereas obviously Donald Trump made a point of antagonizing anyone who knew anything about the world that did not coincide with his own very strange views.
Why Greeks in the US should support Kamala Harris?
If you've noticed, there was a big paid advertisement in the New York Times. Most of the leaders of the Greek American community signed on very enthusiastically behind Kamala Harris. The reason they did that is, well, two things. First, they care about the U.S. economy, and Donald Trump's plans for it are crazy. Second, they care about Greece, and they know that Greece's flourishing as a European country depends on the rule of international law, which is fragile and must be backed by the United States, on international organizations which are weak unless the United States supports them fully, and on NATO, which must be united and, I regret to say, sometimes firmly led when required.
Mr. Kissling, Do you believe that if Donald Trump loses the election, will he accept the result?
Donald Trump will not accept the results. There is a huge difference between 2020 and now, and that is that we have a president in office who is committed to the rule of law and to upholding the Constitution. And there is, in my mind, no way that the angry people Donald Trump inspires after these elections will have the ability to disrupt the democratic process for more than 3 weeks.
As for the election process, Donald Trump decided to change strategy. 4 years ago, he was against early voting, postal voting. Now he changed his mind. Why do you believe? What do you believe?
The crucial point is that his wealthy friends told him, "We do not stand in line to vote anymore. We vote by mail. You are insane if you discourage Main Street Republicans from voting in the way they are now, after COVID, most comfortable." So he tells his mass followers that mail voting, early voting, is fraudulent because he plans to use their anger if he loses. But he cannot afford to block early voting because his own key fundraisers vote that way.
Some members of GOP, like Jimmy Womack from North Carolina, called the members of the party to be aggressive as for the poll watchers. Do you believe that they are going to create problems to the election process?
U.S. law makes very clear that polling places are sacred. There is no political activity within 100 feet of them, about 30 meters. Disrupting the elections, I'm pretty sure it's a federal crime. The FBI takes it very seriously. If people want to go to, instantly be thrown in jail, they can do it. I think most of them are smarter than that.
Mr. Kίσλινγκ, thank you for your time.
You're very welcome.
Κυρίες και κύριοι, σας ευχαριστούμε που μας παρακολουθήσατε. Μείνετε συντονισμένοι στο Euronews.